Imagine this. There are 1.9 billion Muslims in the world. From every continent to every culture, Islam has a presence. But did you know there are countries where not a single Muslim lives? No mosques, no call to prayer, no Ramadan, no Eid. As if Islam was never there at all. But why? Is it just a coincidence? Or is there a deeper story of colonialism, isolation, or silent exclusion? The world is changing. Borders are opening. Cultures are mixing. Migration is global. You can find every religion almost everywhere now. But there are still some countries on this planet where Islam never set foot or was quietly pushed away. Sometimes it was geography that kept Muslims out. Sometimes it was history. And sometimes it was politics. In some places, Islam simply never arrived. In others, it was deliberately erased. In this video, we'll take you on a journey through 20 countries where not a single Muslim lives today. Each nation hides a story, some emotional, some shocking, and some the world never talks about. Get ready for a journey where there is no call to prayer, no trace of Islam, only one haunting question. Why? So let's get started. Number 1. North Korea, the religionless prison. Imagine a place where not just Islam, but all religions are considered a threat to the regime. North Korea is that place. It's one of the most isolated nations in the world, where the government doesn't just restrict religion, it completely erases it from public life. Here, worship of the ruling Kim dynasty has replaced all other faiths. There are no mosques, no Islamic centers, and no open practice of any non-state ideology. Even possessing a Quran is considered a criminal act that could land someone in a labor camp for years, or worse. Why don't Muslims live here? Because freedom itself doesn't live here. A few diplomats from Muslim countries may temporarily enter, but even they live under surveillance and can't openly practice. Stories have emerged of Muslim students or aid workers simply vanishing without a trace. In North Korea, faith is not forbidden because it's wrong. It's forbidden because it competes with the one religion the state enforces, obedience to power. Number 2. Vatican City, a religious fortress. Vatican City is the heart of global Catholicism, the home of the Pope, and the world's smallest independent country. But behind its breathtaking architecture and spiritual power lies a wall, literal and symbolic, against religious diversity. Islam is not banned here, but the city is so tightly woven into Catholic rituals that Muslims simply don't find a place to live or practice. The entire population is made up of priests, nuns, Swiss guards, and a few staff members, all connected to the Catholic Church. Why don't Muslims live here? Because no one outside the church can become a citizen. Even the gardeners and cooks live outside Vatican walls, usually in Rome. And while Muslims can visit as tourists, settling here is out of the question. This isn't about hostility. It's about preservation of a sacred identity. But it also raises questions. Can a religious state coexist with pluralism? Or does spiritual power demand spiritual uniformity? Number 3. Monaco, where luxury leaves no room for others. Monaco is a land of luxury. Ferraris, billionaires, casinos, and yachts. Nestled on the French Riviera, it's glamorous, exclusive, and almost impenetrable to outsiders. With a population under 40,000 and one of the highest income levels in the world, Monaco isn't just a country. It's a gated community for the ultra-rich. Islam isn't banned, but Muslims don't live here in any significant numbers. There's no mosque, no Islamic school, and barely a whisper of religious infrastructure. Why? Because getting into Monaco is harder than getting into heaven. Residency requires millions in assets, background checks, and approval from the royal palace. And let's face it, Monaco doesn't want diversity. It wants exclusivity. Muslims, like many others, are economically filtered out. It's not always racism, it's classism wrapped in velvet gloves. In this playground of the rich, religion is invisible and diversity is politely discouraged. Number 4. Tuvalu, an island frozen in faith. Tuvalu is one of the least visited and most geographically isolated countries in the world. Tucked deep in the Pacific Ocean, it's a collection of tiny atolls with a total population of just 11,000 people. The entire nation has one religion, Christianity, introduced by missionaries long ago. Islam never made it here, not through trade, not through migration, and certainly not through conversion. There are no mosques, no Islamic organizations, and no records of any Muslim families ever settling in Tuvalu. Why? Because Tuvalu isn't just physically isolated. It's spiritually sealed. Immigration is tightly controlled. Foreigners can only settle with special government approval, and religious conversion is viewed with suspicion. Some say even talking about Islam publicly would be considered offensive. The country prides itself on cultural and religious unity, but that unity comes at a price: zero diversity. Tuvalu remains untouched by Islam, not out of hate, but out of complete disconnection from the outside world. Number 5. Marshall Islands, American ally, one faith. The Marshall Islands is a small nation of volcanic islands and coral atolls spread over the Pacific Ocean. While it's an independent country, it operates under a compact of free association with the United States, which means strong American influence in military, governance, and yes, religion. The country is overwhelmingly Christian. Churches are the heart of community life. Islam, on the other hand, has no footprint here. No mosques, no Muslim community, and no known Islamic cultural presence. Why don't Muslims live here? Because the country has never seen Islamic migration, and its tight-knit local culture doesn't make room for outsiders easily. The economy is small, infrastructure underdeveloped, and most foreign residents are either Americans or aid workers. Islamic identity isn't suppressed here, it's simply absent. But that absence speaks volumes. In a world more interconnected than ever, the Marshall Islands remain a place where religious diversity never landed, and Christian influence keeps the doors closed. Number 6. San Marino. San Marino, nestled in the heart of Italy, is one of the world's smallest and oldest republics, a country where everything moves in a traditional rhythm. Its cobblestone streets, ancient architecture, and countless churches all whisper the tale of religious and cultural sameness. No Muslims live here, none ever have. There are no mosques, no Islamic organizations, and no Muslim community to speak of. Citizenship in San Marino comes by blood, not birth. Outsiders may visit, but they cannot stay. Why doesn't Islam exist here? Because society resists anything unfamiliar. Change is met with quiet suspicion, and religious diversity isn't seen as enriching, it's seen as unnecessary. The absence of Muslims here isn't fueled by hatred, but by a deep-rooted mindset that prefers comfort and uniformity over the challenge of difference. In San Marino, tradition is not just valued, it is protected like a fortress. And in that fortress, new faiths, new faces, and new voices rarely find a way in. Number 7. Nauru, the island where Islam never arrived. Nauru is the third smallest country in the world, a forgotten island floating in the Pacific Ocean. Once rich from phosphate mining, today it's economically fragile and politically tight. In this land of just around 12,000 people, Islam has never taken root. There are no mosques, no Muslim organizations, and no visible Muslim community. The national religion is Christianity, and almost every aspect of public life, from schools to holidays, revolves around it. Why don't Muslims live here? Because Nauru has built its identity around isolation. Immigration is nearly impossible unless you're Australian, part of an NGO, or working in refugee detention centers. And even then, permanent settlement is rare. In Nauru, new religions are viewed as foreign, not welcome. Islam isn't hated, it's simply unknown. In a country where tradition rules and outside influence is minimal, the absence of Muslims reflects not rejection, but complete disconnection from global diversity. Number 8. Kiribati, a nation adrift without religious diversity. Kiribati is a remote chain of islands in the Pacific Ocean, spread across an area larger than India, but with a population of just over 100,000. Its people live simple lives, shaped by ocean tides, Christian faith, and centuries-old traditions. There is no Muslim presence here, no mosques, no Islamic centers, and no recorded history of Muslim migration. Islam never found a path to Kiribati, not by sea, not by air, not by faith. Why? Because Kiribati is protective of its spiritual fabric. The Constitution recognizes religious freedom, but the culture resists unfamiliar beliefs. Christianity, especially Protestantism and Catholicism, dominates every village, every ceremony, and every classroom. The idea of Islam isn't debated. It simply doesn't exist in daily conversation. In Kiribati, the sea keeps the islands connected, but it also keeps them cut off. Muslims don't live here not because they're banned, but because the door was never opened in the first place. Number 9. Palau, paradise without the crescent. Palau is a picture-perfect Pacific paradise. Lush forests, coral reefs, turquoise waters. But beneath its natural beauty lies a cultural fabric tightly knit by Christianity and traditional island customs. With a population under 20,000, this island nation doesn't just move slowly, it rarely changes direction. There are no mosques in Palau, no Islamic schools, no community centers for Muslims. In fact, there are virtually no Muslims living here at all. Why? Because immigration is limited and the local population prefers familiarity over difference. Palau welcomes tourists with open arms, but when it comes to permanent settlement, the filters are strong and silent. Islam has no foothold here, not due to hostility, but due to invisibility. The faith has never arrived, never spread, and never been embraced. In Palau, paradise is peaceful, but peace comes with the cost of sameness, and that sameness has left no room for the Islamic faith to take root. Number 10. Andorra, a tiny kingdom of one culture. Tucked in the Pyrenees between Spain and France, Andorra is a land of ski slopes, medieval villages, and a powerful sense of national identity. Despite being a tourist hub, this micro-state keeps its permanent population small and controlled. Andorra has no mosques, no Muslim population of note. Islamic presence is virtually zero. The country is over 90% Christian, and Catholicism is deeply embedded in its legal and cultural institutions. Why don't Muslims live here? Because citizenship is incredibly hard to obtain, and renting or buying property long-term is expensive and bureaucratic. The government prefers to keep its demographics stable, and newcomers, especially from unfamiliar backgrounds, rarely settle. There's no outright ban, no visible discrimination, just a quiet, systematic exclusion. In Andorra, tradition walks hand in hand with tourism, but never with diversity. Islam has no history here, and with the current policies, it likely never will.